When Emily told me she needed a break to explore her feelings for her ex, I felt like someone had slammed the door on my chest. We had been engaged for over a year, planning a future, talking about moving in together, wedding dates, everything. And now, in a single sentence, she was asking me to pause everything, to let her decide if the man she used to love was somehow better than the life we had built together. At first, I thought it was a joke. "Emily," I said, trying to keep my voice calm, "you're serious?" She nodded, biting her lip, avoiding my eyes. "I need to know if I'm making the right choice. I can't marry you if I still have unresolved feelings." My mind reeled. Unresolved feelings. For her ex. For the man who had hurt her, abandoned her, and left her crying while I had been by her side. I didn't yell. I didn't beg. I just sat there, stunned, letting the words settle in. After what felt like hours, I finally spoke. "You want a break to see if your ex is better than me?" She looked down. I just need to be sure." My stomach twisted, but I knew one thing with absolute clarity. I couldn't wait around for her to gamble with my heart. I ended the engagement that night. Calmly, without drama, without anger. "Emily," I said softly, "I love you, but I can't let my life be put on hold for someone who isn't here anymore. If you need to explore your past, do it. But don't expect me to wait." She started crying, saying she didn't want this, that she loved me, but the damage was done. Words couldn't fix the betrayal of being second choice. The days after were quiet and painful. I moved through my routine, work, friends, family, all the while feeling the sting of heartbreak mixed with relief. I kept my dignity, but the void she left was real. I avoided social media, places we frequented together, even mutual friends who tried to comfort me. I needed space to heal, to remind myself of my worth. A few weeks later, I heard through the grapevine that Emily had indeed spent time with her ex. She tried to reconcile, thinking he was the answer she had been looking for. But it didn't last. Old wounds resurfaced, arguments reignited, and the man who had abandoned her once proved he hadn't changed. Her eyes, once sparkling with hope, were now clouded with regret. Meanwhile, I focused on myself. Work became my refuge. Hobbies that I had ignored during the engagement flourished, and slowly, my heart began to mend. I went out with friends, traveled, laughed, and discovered parts of myself I hadn't realized were missing. For the first time in a long time, I felt free. Free from uncertainty, free from being someone's second thought, free to live without fear of heartbreak. Months later, we ran into each other at a mutual friend's party. Emily's face fell when she saw me, her eyes wide with surprise. She tried to approach, to apologize, to explain. But I held up a hand and smiled. "Emily, it's okay. I hope you found what you were looking for." She stammered. I didn't mean." I shook my head. "It's done. I've moved on." And in that moment, I realized something beautiful. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't hurt anymore. I was grateful. Because ending the engagement had saved me from a life of uncertainty and pain. It had allowed me to choose myself when she chose to look elsewhere. I had been brave enough to walk away from something familiar for the sake of my own heart. And in doing so, I had discovered resilience, dignity, and the quiet strength that comes from knowing your worth. Later that night, I went home alone, not lonely, and looked at my reflection in the mirror. I didn't see someone broken or defeated. I saw someone who had loved deeply, been hurt, and chosen to rise above it. The heartbreak was a lesson, the pain a teacher, and the freedom a gift. I never regretted ending the engagement. It had been the hardest decision of my life, but also the most necessary. Emily had made her choice, and I had made mine. And now, years later, when I reflect on that night, I smile, not out of bitterness, but out of pride. Pride in choosing myself, in refusing to settle, and in trusting that the right person, when they come, will never ask me to compete with the past. Because love isn't about being second, waiting in the wings, or being a backup plan. Love is about being valued, cherished, and chosen, wholeheartedly. And that is exactly what I will never compromise again.